Happy Monday. I am Dr. Samantha DeLoache, your modeling pharmacist and professional speaker coach. And I know it's been a while since I've had a conversation in public speaking and business, but life gets a little busy sometimes, but we're back. So I know you might have, missed the conversations, but no worries. Tonight is going to be a special treat. But before we get into tonight's guest, I want to just remind everyone that the Model Speakers Academy is 2 months old. We launched September this year, and it's just barely been a pleasure helping people create their messaging, get that confidence in public speaking. And that's what the Model Speakers Academy is about, helping individuals find their voice and share their story, because I believe we all have a story to tell. I believe we all have had life experiences that have shaped and molded us to get us to the point we are today. And so my whole idea or concept for this was to invite individuals from all walks of life to share how public speaking has helped their business, their profession, and to really offer encouragement and tips for the everyday viewer so that they can realize that communication really is the key. I think a lot of the issues we have in today's society is because we don't know how to properly communicate with one another. So that's what this whole entire movement is about. And the Model Speakers Academy is there to help individuals who want to grow, who want to get that confidence in speaking. And we have a model framework. The M stands for motivate, the O stands for organize, the D stands for deliver, E engage, L lead. And so if you become a part of the Model Speakers Academy, that's what you're going to be modeling for your success in your speaking career. And it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're a seasoned vet. I believe we all can always learn something new and get more tips to be a better speaker. And also, a real quick plug, if you hadn't heard, you should have heard by now, but in October 2025, the Model Speakers Academy is launching their first international speakers retreat in Bali, Indonesia. So that's 10 days where you're able to come see a beautiful country. But if you're a speaker, you can spend the first 3 days getting tips on how to be a better speaker. We'll have workshops, we'll have different activities, which will help expand and just give you a different point of view as far as your speaking career is concerned. You'll be able to network with other speakers, and then you'll be able to actually stand on stage and provide and give the audience your speech. And it'll be photographed as well as video recorded. That way you will have actual proof that you were an international speaker, and you can use it for your social media, how you see fit. And then, of course, we're going to enjoy the beautiful Bali. Okay. We're going to do cooking classes. We're going to play with the elephants. We're going to do the swinging photo shoots, all of the things, the Bali swing, so you don't want to wait around. We're going to be doing some special things coming up in the next few weeks to encourage you to go ahead and sign up if you haven't done so. But that's what's happening October 3rd through the 13th, 2025. So you don't want to miss it. All right, but enough about all of those great things. Tonight we have Dr. Emilio Justo, who will be here sharing with us about his business, his brand, and how public speaking has helped them. So welcome, Dr. Justo.
Well, thank you so very much, Dr. Samantha. It is a joy and privilege to be here with you and your audience, and I'm greatly looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to have you here to kick us off with our talking series. But tell us about what you practice and a little bit about your business.
Yes, so first, just briefly about me. So I'm blessed. I'm a Cuban refugee immigrant from Cuba. Having been born there, my parents and I fled Castro's communist regime. Grew up in the Midwest in Indiana, attended University of Michigan for college and medical school. And I have been for the last 36 years in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I've been practicing ophthalmology and cosmetic surgery. So I specialize in refractive cataract surgery and CO2 laser blepharoplasty. Those are my two claims to fame, and still going strong even 36 years into it.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. And for individuals who may have trouble with vision, you would be the person to see, of course.
Yes, yes. We help a lot of people regain vision that has been deteriorated via cataracts. We also help patients improve their peripheral vision with upper lid blepharoplasty, help them improve their aesthetics and their self-esteem with blepharoplasty and other cosmetic procedures. And along this journey, as perhaps we'll talk about later, I've kind of digressed into something different in the last year and a half of my journey, and that is the TEDx stage and public speaking, which I've always enjoyed throughout my life.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, so we can get right into it. Why do you believe public speaking is a crucial skill for business professionals today?
Well, Dr. Samantha, I think that public speaking really is essential for all businesses, and
Mhm.
really, even if you're not in a business, even if you're just doing whatever, you're retired. I think public speaking is a great way to communicate. It enhances our ability to communicate ideas. It
Mhm.
allows us to inspire others, whether it's teams and in an office setting or just others in general, personal inspiration. It helps build trust with others, with whether it be clients or patients, for example, in my situation. Um, and so when we're talking about an idea or an inspiration, a thought, it allows us to build what I feel are stronger relationships
Mhm.
and leave a lasting impression. So it's not just about speaking in and of itself. In my view, it's about connecting,
Mhm.
influencing, and driving action.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I believe anytime you get in front of an audience, especially to deliver a speech, you should always leave with a call to action. They should be leaving thinking something, feeling something, or ready to do something. And so that's what we should be charged with. So that's excellent. I truly totally agree with everything you just said. So, can you share a personal experience where effective public speaking significantly impacted your career or business?
Yeah, so as I look back at my life, I mean, I'll share two. One was very, very early in my life as a teenager, and this was my first true public speaking, and that was back in high school. I was 17 years old. I was blessed enough to become valedictorian of my graduating high school class, and I had to give a valedictory address, right? Which at the time was intimidating, but at the same time, it was so motivating for me. I mean, I really looked forward to speaking to our graduating class and give them insight as to our future. And then a few months later, I had to give a similar talk down in Indianapolis, Indiana, because I had been awarded the Indiana State Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen Award. But the reason I say this is not to impress you about the award, but to impress upon you that even at an early age, as a teenager, a 17-year-old, one can get in front of a significant audience of about 500 or so
Mhm.
and deliver a message which really can be, I think, inspirational. And I received so much positive feedback and reinforcement that it really set the stage for me looking forward to speaking. I mean, I don't shy away from it. Yes, we all get nervous. I think it's perfectly normal that when you're getting ready to step on stage, that you have jitters and you break out in a sweat, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the second part, and forgive me for rubbing my eyes, I'm having this all of a sudden this allergic attack that's causing my eye to tear. So forgive me. But when I delivered my first TEDx talk, which was a little over a year ago, which was on delayed gratification, delivering that talk really allowed me to connect my personal story as a Cuban refugee with what I feel is the universal principles of success, one of which is delayed gratification. I also discuss some of my other principles that I feel have led me to throughout my life to achieve what others may consider success. And by doing so and delivering this TEDx talk, it's really resonated with millions worldwide.
Wow.
So this exposure not only was able to amplify my message, but it also brought many opportunities to expand my professional reach, whether it be keynote invitations to just increasing the visibility in my medical practice. I mean, many of my patients who come to see me, first thing that they say to me is they ask about my speaking and what I've done lately, if I'm doing another TEDx talk, if I'm doing another book, so it really becomes a platform to inspire others and get your message out.
Wow. Well, I want to say a few comments on everything you just said. I wasn't the valedictorian at my high school, but I was a part of the top 20 of the class. And so I was a part of the senior class. And so they allowed us to vote on who could talk. And so I was able to do one of the speeches. They had two speeches that were given. And so I gave one of the speeches at my high school graduating class. So I wanted just to share that real quickly. That was my first, I guess you can say, experience of talking to an audience that large. I had been doing things with my church, on Sundays, doing the announcements or reading a scripture, but that was my first time doing a major speech as well. But I like how you mentioned that, the TEDx experience allowed you to connect to a bigger audience. And that's what, public speaking does allow us to do. It allows us to get in front of, bigger crowds and share our messages and allow us to have impact. And that's, one of the things that I want to do in the future is give a TEDx talk. And I love the concept of delayed gratification because in this day and age, nobody wants to wait. Everybody wants stuff
Right.
immediately, fast, microwave, and that's just not the reality of it. And then even in relationships, people just dispose of individuals so quickly if they don't feel like they're connecting or getting that immediate gratification or wanting to, I guess, download a 6 month relationship into a week. Everybody just wants things to be fast. And so I love that you were able to share that message and then tie it into your own past and your own story of being a refugee. And I don't want to discuss politics, but we know what's going on in the current climate. And so I think it's so important for individuals to really have an open mind, to realize that we all, want the same things generally out of life. And we have to give each other respect. And communication, I believe, is a way to bridge the gap of us to talk and share that we have more in common than we have differently. And that
Absolutely.
we don't know how what a child can grow up to be or what an individual can grow up to be. You were given the opportunity to leave Cuba, thankfully, and able to come over here in the States, and now you're a very successful eye doctor, optometrist, ophthalmologist. I don't know the exact phrase. You
Ophthalmologist.
ophthalmologist, you call
Yeah,
yourself, yes. But if you weren't given that opportunity, what could have happened? We'll never know. And thankfully, we don't have to know that you're here, and that you're able to do that. So I really commend you with your story. And I think it needs to be shared. People need to know that, especially in this climate. We have to, really not be judgmental, but be open to hearing everyone's story. Everyone has a story to share. Everyone has
absolutely.
something to
I,
share.
I, I couldn't agree with you more, Dr. Samantha. I mean, we all have a story to share, and getting that message out. And the TEDx stage is just a picture perfect way of doing that. I mean, I became so addicted to that first TEDx experience that I decided I was going to do a second one. And so my second TEDx, which was exactly 6 months after my first one, believe it or not, um, was on the positive power or the positive connotation of obsession, of
Oh,
using obsession in our life, not the negative connotation of psychiatric disease or OCD, no, but changing the paradigm of being obsessed with a purpose, with a passion in everything that we do in life. And so again, that was a great platform, and I've been extremely blessed. I mean, with those two TEDx that have been just in the last year or so, they have a combined viewership on YouTube almost nearing 10 million views between the two videos. So it's just incredible. I love reading the comments that people
mhm.
leave on YouTube, and I reply to them each individually. So I know that I'm making some difference in someone's life. And if I can just touch one life by speaking, that's a win for me. I don't have to reach 100 lives or 1,000 lives or 1,000,000 lives, but if I can reach one life and make it a difference for that person, that's just a great feeling.
Absolutely. And I would like, I'm going to ask on the behalf of the audience, if you could give us the link to both of those speeches, I would love to attach them to this video so that we all can take an opportunity to look at your speeches because I love hearing different speakers. I really do. I believe that if speaking is something that you want to improve upon, then you need to spend time looking at other speeches. You need to spend time, going to workshops, going to retreats, getting those tips and just listening to people's story because storytelling is a huge part of making a memorable speech, being able to talk to the audience and connect, and being able to paint that picture so they can imagine what you're talking about, so that they can, see it, feel it, touch it. You want to wake up all the five senses when you're telling that story, and then they're able to hold on to it and remember it. So that's phenomenal.
Absolutely, and not just watching TEDx talks, but I think it goes right along the path, Dr. Samantha, of continuing our lifelong journey with self-education. And
Yes.
self-education is so important, and it can be in a variety of different ways, right? It can be, like you were commenting on earlier, going to workshops, going to retreats like the retreat in Bali, going to audiobooks, for example. I mean, I've become a very big aficionado of audiobooks, of Audible, of just picking up a book, of watching videos, watching TEDx talks. It's all part of the self-education journey that, in my view, is so incredibly critical in our life to continue to learn. We must always continue to learn. We never know it all. We just never do.
Right. We should always be lifelong learners. There's always something new developing, new coming out. And if you don't want to be obsolete, if you don't want to be left behind, then you got to be willing to learn, and be willing to pivot. Some people get stuck. That's how it used to be done. That's how it used to work. Or that's how I've always done it. That's great. But, the world is ever changing, and we have to be willing to change with it. And our messaging and our techniques and tactics have to change as well if we want to stay relevant. So that's very important. So my next question is, what are some common public speaking challenges that many individuals face, and how can they overcome them?
Well, a great question. And clearly, I think that we would probably both agree that the number one challenge in public speaking is what? The four-letter nasty word, and that's fear, F-E-A-R.
Yes.
That many people just have a fear of public speaking. I mean, we battle with this. My wife and I battle with this with our teenage children, that they just get paralyzed
Mhm.
sometimes with the thought of speaking in public. But this so-called stage fright or self-doubt, perhaps this fear, uh, I think truly to overcome it, I'm a believer in overcoming anything in life, Dr. Samantha. We just need to do it. We need to somehow push through. Now, in public speaking, of course, you have to prepare thoroughly, right? You can't necessarily wing it. Sometimes you can,
Right.
but prepare, practice, um, and maybe in public speaking, if you do have that fear, maybe start with smaller groups, smaller
Mhm.
audiences, and then graduate to bigger audiences. But ultimately, kind of like a Nike commercial, right? You just got to do it.
Yes.
And once you do it the first time, and you'll see how well it goes. I mean, it may not be perfect. We're not looking for perfection. We're
Right.
just looking to get ourselves out there. And
Mhm.
once we do it, we get that positive reinforcement.
Mhm.
And in my case, I look forward to doing it again. I'm
Yeah.
still as nervous the second time or the third time or the fourth time, but each time it gets a little bit easier.
Mhm.
And then other challenges, I think, are perhaps having a bit of lack of clarity in the message. Sometimes the message can be a little too cluttered, it can confuse the audience. So being structured in terms of what you're trying to get across the message, having a clear introduction, having your main points, and then summing it up in a conclusion can be important. And then finally, a point that you already alluded to, which I agree wholeheartedly, is that it's really important if you can engage the audience. And how
Yeah.
do you engage them? Well, to hold someone's attention, if you can be a storyteller, right? And that's something that I'm trying to work on, is be a better storyteller, adding humor
Mhm.
to your speaking that engages the audience. So anything that shows the audience that you have passion, right?
Yes.
And passion and obsession to me are tied together.
Mhm.
Uh, and so when you can speak with passion and
Yes.
speak with authenticity, I
Mhm.
think that goes a million miles for you.
Absolutely. And all those points, yes, I totally agree. Fear is the biggest one. I want to say a study showed that people feared public speaking greater than they did death. And I said,
Right.
wow. So that means they'd rather be in the casket instead of doing the eulogy. And I'm like, that's just crazy that people really are that fearful, but it's real. And that's part of what the Model Speakers Academy does, is to help people find a way to shift that fear energy to fuel to help them do better. Because I believe the adrenaline that's for fear is that same adrenaline that can help you be excited. So we just have to not let the fear take over, but shift that energy into a positive and not allow it to take over us. And then, like you said, of course, clarity, and that helps with preparation. So if you're prepared, you already spoken with the organizer, you know what the objective is, you know the demographics of the audience, you can make sure that the message is going to be tailored to who you're speaking to. And then you can be clear about it. And then, of course, you want to engage the audience through, polling, questions, stories, you know, having them maybe stand up at some point, have them move, or even have them talk and give you some feedback, while you're doing it. But you definitely want to keep the audience engaged the entire time. You don't want anybody in there sleeping or looking at their watches, wanting you to hurry up. So definitely, those were all valid points. So my last question is, what is one essential tip that you would give to someone looking to improve their public speaking skills?
Well, I think, Dr. Samantha, that I think we need to focus on connection
Hmm.
rather than perfection. I think part of the fear factor is that we're trying to be too perfect.
Mm,
And for example, giving a TEDx talk, right? One of the things that organizers will tell every TEDx speaker, especially one who's doing it for the first time, is that don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry that if your script, what you're saying, isn't perfectly memorized, because the audience is not going to know, right?
right,
Only you know. If you've missed a line or skipped over something, they're not going to know. Only you know. So
right.
don't focus on being flawless. I
Hmm.
mean, very few of us are flawless. We need to be authentic. We need to just try to connect with the audience. And the more we can connect and have that authenticity, I think it will just improve our speaking skills, immensely. So that would be the main tip I would give any future speaker.
Wow, I love that. I may even use it. So I'm letting you know in advance. Instead of perfection, you want to strive for connection. And I think that's beautiful because, yes, we're not robots, we're not machines. We're going to make a mistake and it's okay.
Right.
And I love that you said the audience doesn't know. They don't have notes of your speech and
That's
they're
right.
looking at it, making sure, like, okay, make sure you say it, everything. No. And I think they want to know that you're human, that you're real. They want you to be relatable.
Yes.
So it's okay to, make a little joke here or there or, poke fun at yourself. But you want to, be relaxed. The more relaxed you are, the more authentic you can be, and the more you're going to connect with your audience. So I absolutely love that.
Right. And,
And I,
and I think also showing a certain level of vulnerability, right?
yes,
When you show the audience that you're vulnerable, that you're not some person in the ivory tower, so to speak, right? If you think of academics,
yes.
we're just a regular human being, just like our audience members, right?
Mhm.
We're no better, we're no worse. We're one of them. And showing that vulnerability and that authenticity, I think goes a long way to connect, in order to connect with the audience.
Yes, absolutely. Well, how can viewers stay in contact with you? I think I heard you mention earlier that you have a book. Can you tell us about the book or just how we can, stay connected with you and anything you may have coming up in the near future?
Sure. Well, yes. After I did my first TEDx talk in August of 2023, it seemingly started going viral, and my wife said, "Hey, you should consider writing a book on the subject." So I've never written a book before, so that was kind of a new journey for me, and I just started cracking it out every weekend. I would work nonstop on it, and so I did publish a book earlier this summer called "The Power of Pause:
Ooh.
Mastering Delayed Gratification for Success." And
Hmm.
in addition to writing the book, all this started, Dr. Samantha, this whole TEDx journey, it all started actually because I wanted to leave what I feel is a legacy to my kids. We have three still relatively young kids, teenagers.
Wow.
And as I look back at my life as I'm getting a little older, having just turned 40, ha ha ha, I start thinking about my mortality, and I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow or next week or next month.
Right.
So I wanted to leave a legacy to my family, to my kids, and maybe someday future grandkids. And so I did the TEDx talk. I then wrote the book. And then I decided I'm going to narrate that book. And
Wow.
so I did my own self narration, and it's on Audible. So for those of your audience who like audiobooks, which I do, I narrated the book myself, which was an incredible experience, Dr. Samantha. I would recommend that to any author, is to narrate their own book. I mean, their voice stays for the future, for generations to listen to. And then I did my second TEDx talk. But going back to your original question, I have a personal website that is separate from my practice website. And that website is dremiliojusto.com. And that's spelled DREMILIOJUSTO.com. And in
Okay.
that website, there's links to everything. There's links
Okay.
to the TEDx talks. There's links to my book, which is available. Not only the link takes you to Amazon, because Amazon, of course, is tied in. They own Audible, so you can do it there. But the book is available at any major retailer, whether it's Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. And there's links to the numerous. I probably have about 36 podcasts that I've been guests on there, and links to a whole bunch of different articles that I've been featured in. But most importantly, there's a contact page where anyone can put in their name and email address, and they can send me a message, a question, and it goes directly to my inbox. And I'm very, very efficient at answering people back. So I typically answer back the same day. At worst, would be within 24 hours. So that's the best way to reach me. There's social media links to all my platforms. So if they want to follow me on social media, the links are there on the website. So that's the way, Dr. Samantha.
Wow. Okay. Well, you all heard it here first. If you want to find out about anything that Dr. Emilio Justo has going on, you need to go to his website, which is his name, Dr. Emilio Justo, and you're able to find out his books, all his links, the copies, or the connections to get to his TED Talks, all of that information. And he answers his messages, as he just said. So I just want to thank you so much today for this conversation, Dr. Emilio. This has been very, very enjoyable. I thoroughly enjoyed all the tips you gave, and I just really enjoyed the conversation. I felt like I was talking to a friend, and so I just really, really thank you for being with me today.
Thank you so very much. It's been a privilege and an honor in getting to know you, and I value you, Dr. Samantha, and the work that you're doing, and continued kudos and success to you.
Thank you so much, and likewise. So there you all have it. This is a wonderful conversation that we just wrapped up with public speaking in business. I want you to stay tuned, because you never know when we're going to have another great conversation. And always just remember, we have a voice, we have a story. Let's not be afraid